Welcome to Reddit Family Secrets, where trust shatters in an instant and the truth costs more than you ever imagined. If you crave stories that grip you from the first word and don't let go, hit subscribe and stay until the end, because what's coming will change everything you thought you knew. The kitchen felt different that Tuesday evening. Not the warm, kind of different, the kind that make your skin prickle like static before a storm. I was chopping vegetables for dinner, try to ignore the tension radiating from across the room. My wife, Jessica, sat at the breakfast bar, staring at her phone with this distant look I'd seen too many times lately. "Jess," I said, keeping my voice gentle. "You've been quiet all week. Everything okay?" She didn't even glance up. "Headache, just that. One word. No warmth. No eye contact, like I was some stranger who'd overstepped a boundary." I set down the knife, wiping my hands on a towel. "Okay, do you need anything? I can grab you some Tylenol or—" I said, "I'm fine, Marcus." Her tone cut through the air like glass. I stood there, confused, watching this woman I'd shared a life with for 8 years treat me like an inconvenience. "Jess, I'm just trying to help. If something's wrong." She spun around so fast her phone clattered onto the counter. "Not everything is a crisis that needs your management, Marcus. Can you just give me space?" Management? The word hung there between us, sharp and unfamiliar. "I asked if you were okay," I said slowly. "That's not management. That's what people who care about each other do." She laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was bitter, rehearsed. "You don't get it. You hover. You analyze. You make everything feel like I'm under surveillance in my own house." My jaw tightened. "That's not fair, isn't it?" She stood now, arms crossed. "I can't breathe without you dissecting every mood, every silence. Maybe I don't want to be your project anymore." The words landed like punches. I stood there, heart pounding, watching someone I thought I knew become a stranger right in front of me. This wasn't about a headache. This was something else entirely, something that had been building while I wasn't paying attention. "If you need space," I said quietly, "take it. But don't rewrite our entire marriage to justify pushing me away." Her eyes narrowed. "Maybe the problem is you never saw what this marriage really was." I nodded slowly, feeling something fundamental shift between us. "Maybe you're right." That night, I slept in the guest room. Not because she asked, but because I couldn't lie next to someone who looked at me with such coldness. We'd built a life together here in Portland. A Craftsman house in Selwood, 2 sensible cars, weekend brunches with friends. She worked in digital marketing downtown. I was a software engineer at a startup near Pioneer Square. We weren't flashy, but we were solid. Or so I'd thought. But that moment in the kitchen, those cutting words that rehearsed anger, made me realize something had cracked in the foundation. And I had no idea how deep the damage went. Morning light filtered through the guest room blinds like nothing had happened. I was already dressed when I walked back into our bedroom. Jessica was still in bed, scrolling her phone, not acknowledging my presence. "Morning," I ventured. "I called Dr. Chen's office. They can see you Thursday at 2. The scrolling stopped. "You did what?" "For your headaches," I explained. "You've been saying you don't feel well, so I thought." She sat up abruptly. "You scheduled a doctor's appointment for me?" Without asking, I was trying to help. "No." She shook her head, eyes flashing. "You were trying to control the situation. There's a difference, Marcus." I blinked, genuinely confused. "Jess, you've been in pain. I made a call." "That's not control, that's concern." "It's always concern with you, isn't it?" She threw off the covers, pacing. "Concern that just happens to involve you making decisions for me, organizing my life, keeping tabs on everything I do. That's not what this is." "Then what is it?" She turned on me. "Because from where I'm standing, you don't trust me to handle my own health. You think I'm lying about something." The accusation caught me off guard. "Are you?" Her face went pale, then flushed red. "Get out." "Jess." I said, "Get out." She grabbed her purse and pushed past me, slamming the bathroom door hard enough to rattle the mirror. I stood there alone, staring at the closed door, wondering when exactly I'd lost the ability to have a normal conversation with my own wife. 10 minutes later, she emerged, grabbed her keys, and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" I asked. She didn't even turn around. "I don't know you a schedule, Marcus." And then she was gone. For days passed in tense silence. By Saturday, we were both pretending the fights hadn't happened. Our friends Tyler and Sarah were hosting a barbecue at their place in Beaverton. Just casual drinks, grilled food, and laughter. A break from whatever this had become. Jessica dressed carefully. That green sundress I loved, hair falling in loose waves, subtle makeup that made her eyes stand out. She looked beautiful, but not for me. We pulled up to Tyler and Sarah's around 6. Sarah hugged us both. Tyler clapped me on the back, and for a moment, everything felt normal again. But the second we stepped into their backyard, I noticed something shift in Jessica's demeanor. Her smile got brighter. Too bright. "Marcus, grab yourself a beer," she said, already drifting toward the grill where Tyler stood flipping burgers. I poured myself a drink and made small talk with Sarah, but my eyes kept finding Jessica. She was standing close to Tyler. Not obviously close, but closer than necessary. Her hand brushed his arm when she laughed at something he said. The laugh itself was different. Higher pitched. Performative. I walked over, sliding my arm around her waist. She stiffened for just a second, then stepped forward slightly, letting my arm fall away. Tyler glanced between us, then back at the grill. "Burgers are almost ready." "Perfect," Jessica said brightly. "Sarah, did you ever finish that bottle of wine from last weekend?" Sarah nodded and headed inside. And there we were, just the three of us. The rest of the evening blurred into background noise and firelight. But everywhere I looked, Jessica wasn't near me. She was near Tyler, laughing at his stories, leaning in when he talked, touching her hair the way she used to with me when we first started dating. Once, I caught them looking at each other. Not just looking, holding eye contact for a beat too long before both quickly glanced away. I didn't say anything. I just smiled and handed Jessica her drink like I hadn't noticed. But I had noticed everything. Every touch, every glance, every calculated movement. When we finally got in the car to leave, Jessica hummed softly to herself, texting someone on her phone. She didn't look at me once during the drive home, and I said nothing. But inside, something was shifting, permanently. I found Danny through a former colleague, ex-military, now working quietly as a private investigator out of a small office in Northwest Portland. The kind of guy who blended into crowds and asked questions without anyone realizing they were being questioned. His office was above a Vietnamese restaurant, sparse and functional. No frills, just results. "Tell me what you're looking for," he said, notebook ready. "I think my wife's hiding something," I said. "And I think Tyler Morrison is involved." Danny didn't react, just wrote down the name. "I'll keep it clean. Photos, timestamps, communications if possible. Nothing illegal, just facts." "That's all I want," I said. The truth. A week later, I was back in that office. Danny didn't waste time, just turned his laptop toward me and pressed play. Audio crackled, wind, traffic sounds. Then Jessica's voice. "I'm late, Tyler." Like really late. I took 4 tests, all positive. I went completely still. Tyler's voice, lower, tense. "Are you absolutely sure?" "I have a sonogram appointment scheduled." "Yeah, I'm sure." Silence. Just ambient noise. Someone's car alarm in the distance. Tyler again. "Does Marcus know?" "No." "And he can't." "Not yet." Danny paused the recording. I couldn't speak. My hands were clenched so tight my knuckles had gone white. "There's more," Danny said quietly. "She tells him she's listing you as the father. For insurance, medical records, to keep everything simple." I closed my eyes. This wasn't just betrayal. This was premeditation. Danny slid a folder across the desk. Inside were photos. Jessica and Tyler in a hospital parking lot, her hand on her stomach, his face pale and drawn. "You okay?" Danny asked. I nodded, because for the first time in weeks, everything was crystal clear. I knew exactly what I had to do. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and quiet secrets. I walked through the sliding doors at 9:30 a.m., hand steady, heartbeat calm. At the front desk, a nurse looked up with a polite smile. "How can I help you?" "I'm here about my wife, Jessica Monroe. She had some tests done recently." The nurse typed for a moment. "And you are?" "Her husband, Marcus Monroe." She glanced at her screen, then at my ID. "You're listed as the father." One moment. There it was. Official. Documented. A lie with my name on it. She returned with a thin folder. A doctor joined her, mid-40s, warm smile, practice compassion. Mr. Monroe, he said, extending his hand. Congratulations. Thank you, I said evenly. Everything looks good so far. We'll schedule the next ultrasound soon. Of course. He nodded. These early weeks can be overwhelming. Try to be there for her. I intend to, I said. And technically that was still true. I reviewed the paperwork carefully. Emergency contact. Marcus Monroe. Father. Marcus Monroe. My name. My life. Rewritten without my consent. I closed the folder, thanked them both, and walked out with absolute clarity. That evening, our bedroom looked like a scene from a romantic movie. Soft lighting, candles flickering on the dresser, the scent of jasmine in the air. Jessica stood near the bed wearing dark red silk I hadn't seen in years. Hey, she said softly. Hey. She adjusted a candle, glanced at me with calculated sweetness. I thought maybe we could just be us tonight. No stress, no fighting. She stepped closer. I caught the perfume, the one she only wore on special occasions. You look nice, I said neutrally. Her fingers trailed up my chest. I was hoping you'd say that. I stepped back slightly. I'm tired. Her expression flickered. Confusion, then something sharper. Oh, long day, I added. She wrapped her arms around herself. You've been distant. Have I? She tried again, voice dropping lower. I miss us, Marcus. Don't you? I turned away, took off my watch. You miss the version of me that didn't ask questions. What's that supposed to mean? I didn't answer. She sat on the edge of the bed. I'm trying here. I lit candles. I'm showing up. What else do you want? I looked at her for a long moment. You don't need to try tonight. Her shoulders slumped. So you're rejecting me. I'm just tired. For the first time, real uncertainty crossed her face. The woman who'd been so sure of herself, who'd worn her deception like armor, was rattled by one simple word. No. Good night, Jessica. I left the room without looking back. Behind me, the candlelight flickered against her silence. At 4:30 a.m., I felt her press against me in the darkness. Her lips found my neck, hands moving slowly across my chest. I miss you, she whispered. I sat up without responding, pulled on a hoodie, and walked out. Marcus, where are you going? I didn't answer. In the kitchen, I opened the refrigerator and started making breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee. The routine grounded me. She appeared in the doorway minutes later, wrapped in that robe. You're just walking away? I'm making breakfast. Are you serious right now? I flipped the eggs. You hungry? Stop it. Her voice cracked. You're acting like nothing matters. You kissed my neck, I said flatly. I'm trying to reconnect. No, I said evenly. You're trying to erase something. That's different. She leaned against the counter, arms tight across her chest. So this is it? You make eggs and give me nothing? I plated the food, turned off the stove. Some things don't need words anymore. That doesn't mean anything. It does to me. Her breathing quickened. I didn't want things to be like this. Neither did I. She touched my arm gently. I'm scared, Marcus. I don't know how to fix this. You had time. The toast popped. I buttered it in silence, placed one slice next to each plate. Eat something, I said quietly. She stared at the plate, then at me. You're really going to do this? I looked at her and smiled. Not kindly, but knowingly. I'm acting like it's very real. She stepped back, eyes blinking fast. You're not supposed to be the one who pulls away. You be surprised, I murmured. Then I sat down and took my first bite. She just stood there, robe slipping off one shoulder, morning light hitting her eyes. Her plan wasn't falling apart. It already had. Before we move on, tap like if this is resonating with you. The law office was all dark wood and leather-bound books. My attorney, Robert Shun, sat across from me reviewing the folder I'd brought. Danny's full report, audio transcripts, hospital paperwork, photos, everything. He didn't speak for several minutes. Just read, methodical and thorough. Finally, he leaned back. This is airtight. I nodded. You'll get everything. Assets, a clean exit, no paternity obligation. She could try to fight, but it won't work. I'm not interested in revenge, I said. I just want it done. She tried to lock you into legal fatherhood of another man's child. You understand that. I do. Smart of you to come now. Before the birth. I met his eyes. I came right after I stopped lying to myself. He smiled slightly. I'll start the paperwork today. Tyler and Sarah's backyard felt surreal under string lights and a clear sky. Music drifted from portable speakers. Drinks flowed freely. Laughter filled the spaces between conversations. Jessica had dressed up again. Pale blue dress, delicate jewelry, hair styled in perfect waves. She looked radiant. Nervous. Excited. I stood near the edge of the patio, watching. Then she clinked her glass. Everyone turned. I just want to share some news, she said, voice trembling with rehearsed emotion. Marcus and I have been keeping a secret, but I think it's time. My stomach tightened. She looked right at me, eyes shining. We're having a baby. The cheers erupted instantly. Clapping, shouting, congratulations flying from every direction. Sarah covered her mouth, eyes wide. Oh my God, Jessica, that's amazing. Tyler stood frozen, color draining from his face. Jessica turned to me, beaming. Say something, babe. I raised my glass slowly, looked around at every face in that circle. Then I smiled. Actually, I said, voice calm and clear, you should probably congratulate Tyler instead. Silence dropped like a stone. Tyler's beer bottle slipped slightly in his hand. Sarah's smile vanished. Wait, what? Sarah asked. I turned to her. Jessica is pregnant. That part's true, but it's not mine. Jessica's voice came out in a rush. Marcus, what are you? You're confused. You're upset. I pulled a flash drive from my pocket. Audio recording. Hospital parking lot. Your voice. His voice. Want me to play it? Tyler finally spoke, barely audible. Jess. Sarah turned to him. What did you do? Jessica reached for me desperately. Marcus, please, we can talk about this at home. You don't have to. This, I said softly, is exactly where it needs to happen. I looked around at the faces I'd known for years. Congratulations, Tyler. Hope you're ready for midnight feedings. Tyler looked like he might be sick. Sarah stepped away from him, hand over her mouth. Jessica's voice cracked. It was a mistake. I was going to tell you. I was scared. You weren't scared, I said. You were strategic. Then I turned and walked across the yard, through the gate, into the quiet darkness beyond. Let them explain. Let them drown in the silence. For once, I wasn't cleaning up the mess. The courtroom was all polished wood and hushed tones. Jessica sat across the aisle in a conservative gray suit, hair pulled back, lips pressed tight. Her lawyer whispered strategies while she stared straight ahead. My attorney, Robert Chun, sat calm and confident beside me. The judge called us forward. Jessica's lawyer stood first, painting a picture of emotional isolation and fear. Robert stood next, presenting facts, audio evidence, falsified medical records, documented timeline. The judge looked at Jessica. Do you dispute what's been presented? She swallowed. No, Your Honor. The ruling came swift and clean. I wasn't the legal father. No parental rights. No financial obligation. Jessica got her car. I kept everything else. Tyler Morrison was listed as legal father with full child support responsibility. As we stood to leave, Robert touched my shoulder. You got what you came for. No, I said. I got something better. What's that? Closure. It was a quiet Sunday morning when a knock came. I opened the door to find Sarah standing there. No makeup, eyes tired but clear, shoulders straight. Hey, she said softly. Hey, want to come in? She shook her head. I just needed to ask you something. I leaned against the doorframe. How did you not break? I let the silence breathe before answering. I did, quietly, when no one was looking. Her eyes shimmered. Some betrayals hit like earthquakes. Yeah, I said, but you rebuild. And if you do it right, the ground ends up stronger. She gave a shaky laugh. Tyler moved out yesterday. I told him I couldn't live with someone who could lie so easily. I nodded. That takes courage. She stepped forward and hugged me. Not romantic, just two people who'd survived the same wreckage. When she pulled back, she smiled. A real smile. I'm glad you're okay. I am now. Me too. She turned and walked down the steps, disappearing into the morning light. I stood there for a moment, watching the quiet street, the autumn leaves drifting down. Then I closed the door and stepped back into a life that was mine again. Oh, quiet. Finally real. Now, tell me honestly, did Sarah do the right thing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you can relate with this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got more to tell.